What is happening, sports fans? It's your main man, Matt, from the DFS 5-pack. I am rocking it solo. It is Monday, December 27th. Sorry, I got confused there for a second. Long weekend over here. I hope everyone had a great weekend, had a great Christmas. We got New Year's coming up, bowl games all week, week 17 of NFL. NBA, obviously, chugging along every night with COVID issues, unfortunately. So, as I say on my members only video, if you can't pay attention and be around until the last game locks, I would not play heavy. Tonight is a perfect example of that. Tons and tons of news all over the board. So, again, you got to be able to pay attention until the very last game locks. Before I dive into the NBA slate, I'm going to shout out our promoters real quick. So, first off, Jazz Sports. When you sign up and join Jazz Sports, you get a no-risk wager up to $1,000 in your first bet. That's $1K back if your first wager is graded a loss. You just can't beat that deal. I've mentioned this before. I've been around this industry for a long time. You just don't usually see deals like that. So I encourage and recommend everyone take advantage of that. The promo code when you sign up is 5-pack, and the link will be in the description section of the video. Next up is Loose Lines. Loose Lines is an affiliate of Jazz Sports. They offer really good lines and odds over there, reduced juice, and other really good perks. When you sign up at Loose Lines, you also get an additional 50% off. So a bunch of really good deals going on. The promo code for both of those is 5-pack. And again, the links will be in the description section of the video. With all that being said, let's dive into some NBA. And like I mentioned, it is a wild and crazy night, and it's probably only going to get wilder and crazier. So a lot of good plays. Here are just 5 of the better ones, I think. Starting out at point guard, Eric Bledsoe. 6K might seem steep for Bledsoe, but he's actually way too cheap for the current role he's in. Obviously, we know Kawhi's out, Paul George is out, and Reggie Jackson's out, leaving Bledsoe as the main guy, the main point guard for the Clippers. Showed out last night, dropped 50 DK points. Even if you take away the 5 steals he still had 40. So 38 and 50 DK points the last 2 games. Even with a ton of good plays on the slate, Bledsoe looks like one of the better ones. I think this game should be competitive, and assuming that the Clippers stay tight here, I imagine it's, Bledsoe has a big game. So they're going to need him. He's going to play 35-plus minutes again. And at this price point, he's just too cheap for his current role. All right, moving on to a guy I think a lot of people are probably disappointed with. That's Bogdan Bogdanovic. So the last 2 games have not been pretty for him. He shot 6 of 29. Hasn't been great from a DFS perspective. But with no Trae Young and now no John Collins and no DeLon Wright, no Kevin Huerter, et cetera, the Hawks are missing so many bodies. Bogdanovic is the guy for them tonight. He's way too cheap for his upside at 5K. We saw times last year when Trae Young was out, Bogdanovic got close to 8K. I think we see that Bogdanovic tonight. He's one of the first guys I'd be locking in all formats, even on a slate with so many good plays. He's one of my favorites. All right, moving on down to what I would call a cash game lock and a fade at your own risk, I guess, in tournaments, and that's going to be John Conker, 3,100, starting for the Grizzlies right now with Dylan Brooks out. I'll note that while he balled yesterday, obviously 43 DK points at 3,100 is massive. It was against the Kings. He got some blowout run. He doubled. He had 2 blocks and 2 steals. Much different spot here. The Suns play at a higher pace, at a fast pace, but they're not nearly the defensive shit that Sacramento is. Sorry for my French, but Sacramento is awful defensively. Phoenix is not. So Conker's in a much different spot. At 3,100, you don't need that much from him. So he's still wildly in play here. I think you plug him into your cash games. He's got obvious 10x upside. But I also won't be surprised if he plays 20 minutes here and gets you 18 DK points, which is fine for his salary. But with so many good plays on the board, I don't want to use a roster spot in tournaments if he only gets me 18 DK points. So that's kind of what you got to weigh in your mind. Again, in cash games, I just lock him in. And in tournaments, you could do a lot worse than just plugging him in, but he's not the auto lock for me that he is in cash games. All right, next up, a couple more value plays. So the first off is Jalen McDaniels. Don't confuse him for Jaden McDaniels, his brother for the Timberwolves, who is also wildly in play. So McDaniels has been productive lately. We've seen him play 26 minutes in 3 straight, 4 out of his past 5. He's crushed value in all those games from a DFS perspective. Now the Hornets are missing Miles Bridges. They're missing PJ Washington. Great spot against Houston. Really, really affordable at 3,700. I think you just play McDaniels and move along with your life. Again, a lot of good plays on this slate, so all this is subject to change. All these guys are interchangeable with other good value plays, but he's one of my favorites on the board. And then last up, maybe the best value play on the entire slate, Nathan Knight. So Minnesota dealing with a ton of COVID news, injury, COVID-related injuries, whatever you want to call it. No Cat, no Karl Anthony Towns, no Edwards, no Russell, no Naz Reid, no Jared Vanderbilt. Knight's the next guy up. We've seen him be productive from a fantasy perspective when he was with Atlanta. He's the next man up tonight. They're going to need him to play big minutes here. They're missing basically all their other big men besides Jaden McDaniels. So at 3,300, I could easily see Knight playing 35 minutes here, 10xing with ease. It's just easy for him to do it as a big man. I think this game is relatively close, especially with Boston missing guys. So again, a lot to like about Knight here. He's no different than the other guys in that if you like other value pieces more, do your thing. But for me, on paper, he's one of, if not the best. That's what I got for you guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you want more info, more videos, more content, go check out the DFS 5-pack. We'd love to have you. And yeah, that's all I got. If you have any questions or anything like that, holler at me. I'm around. DFS Patriot and I will be coming out with football info shortly. Thanks again, guys.